Today in the crypto space, we're seeing a dip throughout the market based on Bitcoin's lead, 7% to the downside, and Ethereum also coming down approximately 3.5%, hitting that $3,500 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are deep in the red, some healthy retracements here, but the question is, should we be buying the dip or should we expect a further correction to the downside? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin run project that is still holding up despite the negativity and could be looking for a bounce, and that project is called Nexa. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Of course, you can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join that Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. You see the market coming down in the last little while. We've seen Bitcoin down approximately 9.5%. In the last 24 hours, Ethereum down approximately 6.5%. And okay, fine, maybe Ethereum is showing us, giving us an indication that altcoins are a little bit stronger at this current moment. But generally speaking here, guys, there's a market-wide dip. Look at BNB down, not looking the greatest. Ethereum also coming down. And of course, the list goes on. We can keep on going down because there are some dips, right? Some double-digit dips. Look at Polygon Matic down approximately 13.5%. Dogecoin down 20%. The Sheep down 18%. The dog coins, the meme coins are all coming down. Everything's coming down. But hold on. The reality is that we are not really breaking structure on many of these altcoins. This just could be a short-term pullback. What I would like to see is more confirmation that we are going to be coming down. Both price action and momentum, which should give us a bit of an indication that that's happening with a bit of confluence, right? So let's hold on, because we could get a dead cat bounce. Number one, that could give us an opportunity to exit our positions at a higher level than we are right now. Number two, it gives us an idea of reality is this is going to be a scenario where we're changing structure in this trend, where we're making lower lows and lower highs. There's not enough data to make that decision just yet. This could be a short-term pullback where we, maybe get a bit of a retracement and then we continue to the higher levels. As of now, I know there's a lot of fear in the market. There's a lot of stress out there. People over-leverage longs. This could be a scenario where we're getting a squeeze out of this price action. So we have to understand that that's very possible. At the end of the day, getting into any fresh longs and any fresh shorts right now at this current moment is a bit risky. So you got to be careful out there. We can see Litecoin coming down, many altcoins. We have Leo showing strength here, 10% to the upside. We have Optimism, OP showing a bit of strength, and we can see that based on how Bitcoin is falling, Ethereum is not falling as bad, which means that it could be giving us a signal that the Ethereum ecosystem, Ethereum in general, the whole narrative is showing a bit of strength. We have Optimism looking okay, and if we keep on going down, Immutable X coming down, not looking good. We have a lot of others, like, as long as we're not making lower lows and lower highs, it's not that bad. Like, look at Stacks, not the greatest. IMX, not the greatest look. VeChain, not the greatest look, and the list goes on, guys. So we have to understand that, the market tends to want to punish, a lot of the leveraged individuals, and this could be one of the scenarios where we're seeing that. The graph, GRT down 20%. Pepe down 23%, but we can't negate the fact that a lot of these altcoins in the last few months have been tearing it to the upside non-stop. And a 20% dip on the graph, for example, in comparison to what it has been doing, is pretty much nothing. The reality is it's not a big deal. We have to be very patient here to see exactly what this translates into, right? If you took profit, great, congrats. If you shorted the market, great, awesome, congrats. But both longs and shorts currently are very, very risky. I would be waiting for more confirmation to see where this market is going. Look at the render coming down 14%. to the downside, quietly coming down, doing its thing, and we see many others say coming down to lower levels. I'm interested in buying in because I do not have a position, so if I can get a great entry, I'll definitely jump on that. We had the Phantom breakout that definitely looked really good for Phantom, but it's still only down 5.5%, give or take. For the week, for the last 7 days, it's up 52%. So you got to understand, big picture, nothing is really happening. Now, some of the altcoins that haven't been moving for the last little while, like Sui, you know, kind of been taking a break for a bit, are taking a bigger beating. And this is the thing, is because their pump has been happened a while back. So, you know, the rollover finally having this event caused it to be a very negative scenario for projects like Sui and Say and others that are pumped up very early. Arwe, for example, is a good example of a project that really didn't do much. If you think about it, this dip barely caused a flinch in the Arwe price. It's up 75% in 7 days, and a 10% dip after that fact is barely anything. So we got to understand that we need to zoom out a little bit, and we got to understand what's happening here. It could be the beginning of a correction, but before I get into that bearish stance right now, where I start thinking about, you know, really coming down hard, I'm expecting a dead cat bounce at minimum to get a lower high. That would give me the confirmation high that, you know, gives me a bit of that bearish sense. And especially if we're getting bearish divergence, we are at horizontal levels of resistance, but there's no point of selling currently at this moment unless it's breaking structure on the particular token that you're looking at. Guys, join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern. We'll talk about price, we'll talk about any projects that you're looking at, and at the end of the day, that is a great time and place to make those requests. Let's continue coming down here and let's see what's going on. 10%, 18% for Gala, the bottom of the range, doing its thing. Hopefully we hold support. Ordinals coming down, 17% for Altcoin, and Dogwif Hat 22%, but look at this thing, it's still up 100% in the last 7 days. Forget the past or even prior to 7 days. This thing is still very, very hot and doing its thing. So nothing really that negative so far. Terra Luna Classic up 65% based on the Do Kwon news, you know, not being extradited. That's potentially a very bullish news for Terra Luna Classic or Lunatics. Pretty good there. And we keep on going down. It's 30% for Floki as expected. The dog coins are coming down because they've been climbing up really, really, really hard. Guys, the market is looking weak today, especially in the last, let's say, couple hours. But the reality is it's just the beginning. And, you know, the same way we don't go up in one green straight candle, we don't come down in one red, you know, candle. Yes, it does usually come down faster than it does go up. I'm aware of that. You know, the old saying goes, you know, you take the ladder, the stairs up and then the escalator down or the elevator down. It comes down a lot quicker, generally speaking. I get it. But the reality is a bit of a bounce or a bit of relief after a pullback like this or a dip like this is highly expected. And I would be then considering to take a bit of profits and de-risk in that case. And that way we can expect the further continuation to the downside. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin in a bit more detail. You can see that, you know, really big picture here on the daily, nothing really happened here, guys. We're still okay. We got to a very critical level. We got to understand what we hit. We hit pretty much all-time highs on the line. Okay, guys, and that's where usually we get a lot of resistance. You can see this horizontal yellow line is pretty much outlining the previous high. Let's go on to the weekly so you can see this a little bit clearly. And you can see if I move this out of the way, we touched the previous high almost on the dot to the dollar. So the reality is we're getting a lot of friction in that level where we could get this pullback, and that's exactly what we got. Let's look at this in a bit more detail. Given the fact that the market is, you know, expecting that to happen, and there's a bit of data out there suggesting that the people that in fact sold are miners from the previous bull run that didn't take profits or whatever. Maybe they decided to offload. There's a couple of metrics out there suggesting that. Now, it could be the case, doesn't matter. It's a free market, you know, buying, selling, supply and demand. That is supposedly supposed to represent the free market, right? So the invisible hand did decide to make the price come down. Now the question is here, are we going to go right back up and test those previous highs? Statistically speaking, the probability is that we will, right? That we will. Our first touch is not enough data. And if you noticed in the past, let's just scooch by and use this area as an example. And we'll get these Fibonacci's out of the way because right now they're pretty much irrelevant. And you can see that we did get a wick. We did get a hit at this horizontal, at this level, and we did come down. However, we did get opportunities in between, and you could have seen that the price does come back up after the next candle and kind of hesitates. Remember, this is the weekly. And if we go on to the daily, you can see that the daily even gave us many opportunities on previous price action here to get in and get out and basically take a bit of profit. So be careful here, because as you look at tops, a lot of the times there's a lot more structure that needs to be built before we come down. You know, blow off tops, obviously there's not much, but most often than not, we get one, two, three touches, and then we start rolling over. So this could be the beginning of a distribution phase, no doubt, where we are right now. Let's get back over to the current price action. It could be the beginning of a distribution phase, no doubt. But distribution phases take time. They don't happen all at once, and they go hunt liquidity at previous highs. They get a lot of people wrecked. This would just be the beginning of a potential pullback or a bigger picture rollover. Dead cat bounce, very likely here. A test of the previous highs, very likely here. If you look at the daily, we're definitely overbought, no doubt. It's overbought. It could definitely come roll over and get to oversold conditions, but maybe another bounce here, like we have done many times, little bounces, even something like this where we do come down, get back up there and make a higher high based on a lower high on the RSI. We make a higher high on the price action, class A bearish divergence, and we're all good, right? So just be careful here getting into an emotional state. Yes, Bitcoin came down. Right now it's down approximately 8%, but nonetheless, guys, this is where we're at with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a volatile asset. This is the name of the game, and you can imagine what's happening there with some of the altcoins. A lot of them are definitely coming down to lower levels, so anticipate it. Okay, so let's go back here and see. Look at this at the lower time frames. You can see that we're almost already at horizontal support on momentum. Okay, so this is what's really interesting. We are at previous lows here on the 4 hour, which we've held once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Maybe if you even want to classify this the 5th time, is it likely that we get support here again and get back overbought? Maybe. It's very possible, and that we could also potentially get oversold and continue to the downside. The good news is that we're almost there already to oversold conditions. So the majority of the dip probably is already in, and I'm expecting a lot of people to be looking for buy opportunities as well. Not the whole market is not bearish at the current moment. In fact, there's a lot of FOMO out there, people anticipating and wishing to be buying the dip, and this is what we get: a little bit of a dip and maybe a reaction to the upside, a dead cat bounce style. So I'm expecting that to happen as well. Now, if you look at the MACD, yes, it's looking bearish. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars. There's nothing to say here. It is a lagging indicator, so just bear in mind. By the time we see this thing bullish, with a an EMA cross to the upside and a green histogram bar, some time needs to pass, and we got to give it some patience here. Okay, so that's my take here on the 4 hour. Let it fall if it's going to fall, and you can see even here on the 4 hour, we're reclaiming price action as we speak here, guys. As we speak, Bitcoin is bouncing right back up. Okay, so just bear in mind. Now, one thing that I want to really talk about here, and I know it relates to altcoins in general, and we'll talk about this in more detail tonight at 7:30 when I'm live, but generally speaking, the bounce of Bitcoin is what's most important, because when Bitcoin finds its bottom and we get confidence that Bitcoin hit a bottom, then we start to see what kind of confidence we have into altcoins. And I'm telling you right now, Ethereum is holding up a little bit better here than Bitcoin, suggesting that maybe we might see these altcoins bounce a little bit harder. Bitcoin within a range is healthy for altcoins. Bitcoin bouncing off its range lows and having altcoins perform better is really bullish for alts, and an indication that we could be in an altcoin season. So let's see what happens here. Let's see the reactions on ETH. Let's see the reactions on the altcoins and the Bitcoin dominance, and we'll talk about that tonight at 7:30 Eastern. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's take a look at the Nexa. Guys, Nexa is one of those projects that I've been focusing on for the last little while. Let's think about what's happening here with Bitcoin and keep it in, at the back of our mind here while we look at this chart. Bitcoin fell. Nexa didn't even break structure at all. Why? Because it's already at the bottom of the range, pretty much at horizontal support, a very good, strong level of horizontal support. Guys, this is why in the last little while, I've been adamant to only be buying structure lows, bottom dwellers, bottom of the range, type of price action, and Nexa is definitely one of them that just hung out here, produced that right shoulder last minute, and is finally getting a bit of support here. Yes, in the short term you can see a bit of a dip here, but generally speaking, this structure has not changed. The inverse head and shoulders that this could possibly be didn't even change, and that for me is a sign of strength. In fact, Nexa right now, as Bitcoin is coming down and Ethereum is looking weak, Nexa's up 2% still. So this is the reason why I look for horizontal supports, and I only scale in at bottoms, because even if Bitcoin shows a bit of negativity, it is likely to see support. Projects at the bottom of the range are already at support, and it's very likely that they hold support while the rest of the market potentially dips, and this is what we're seeing right now. So this head and shoulders is looking good. Now let's look at the momentum. The momentum here on the daily is still in the chop zone, so nothing to worry about right here. We exited this area with a nice bullish divergence. We got a nice pop to the upside and sideways. We have to understand that this dip, you know, and where we are in this current market, we might have to show it a little bit of patience here for the market to recover and get that dead cat bounce. And then upon the dead cat bounce, we may see projects like Nexa and Polkadot and Zilliqa and many others that are ready and primed to start running to the upside. They might start breaking out. Maybe those are the next wave of projects that need to run, and Nexa needs to be one of those, of course. So getting overbought is in the agenda. In my opinion, it should be one of those projects that run upon a Bitcoin bounce and an Ethereum bounce. So let's look at this in a bit more detail. Here you can see that the MACD is having some trouble here with the MACD. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars still. Yes, we got a few pale pink ones, but nothing just yet here, guys. So be very careful. I'm expecting that we may be creating something like this. We pumped, we roll over, retrace, get another EMA cross, and another impulsive move to the upside. Very similar to here. We pumped, retrace, continuation to the upside, retrace, continuation to the upside. We potentially are due here to get into the bullish control zone here on the daily. We've already been bearish. We pumped up. Let's see if we actually can get back to the bullish side of things, and especially that we've been seeing a lot of the altcoins hunt the overbought conditions on the weekly, because they haven't even gotten to that level like other altcoins have, like Bitcoin as well has been there overbought on the weekly. Ethereum is getting very hot and heavy and frothy at those levels, at the current levels. So we want to see some of these altcoins following the heavyweight lead. So far momentum okay, not bad, still holding up. The volume into here is definitely strong. You can see that. We can see that the MACD here on the 4-hour is very choppy and indecisive. However, you can see that the objective here is still moving upwards. Okay, we have higher highs and higher lows on the EMAs, on these trend lines, and we have the histogram bars also climbing to the upside, suggesting that the objective here is to get into the bullish control zone, where the MACD can give us an indication that the trend, the bullish trend, is in strength, and it's dominating right now. So let's get here with a bit more conviction and start blasting to higher levels so we can see Nexa run. And that's really what we want to do. We want to see this pattern, this confirmation low that we got here, a higher low, basically start breaking necklines. And for me, that is right around this level, multiple zeros, 8597. If we break above that, guys, it's looking really good for Nexa, and it starts potentially coming up and making a higher high. The magic is here. If we break above this zone, we start getting into this volume gap, and we can potentially start moving to higher levels. But we've already made a higher high. We come down and we make a higher low. We go up for another higher high. Bullish, bullish, bullish on Nexa. I think that ultimately right now is not a bad time to start DCing, buy a bit of a bag, and have a bit of reserve just in case we do come down. But the reality is, how much lower can we go here on Nexa? We have previous lows right here. That is a great invalidation for a bullish thesis. However, there is still a little bit more room that we could come down. I am giving this zone a lot of confidence because there is a lot of confluence, and confluence does give you confidence. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor and slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. Of course, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.